What's happening, my beautiful people? My name is Dirty Mike, and today, my friends, we're going to talk about crossing. But before we get into the tutorial, I got to ask you guys something. How do you feel about FUT Champions? I love the concept. It's too many games. I want to put that out there. It's way too many games over the course of a weekend, but it's being ruined for me because whether I win or I lose, I'm stressed out. Because every match is so much park the bus or so heavy on the possession. It's turned into, especially when you get into the gold and the elite levels, where you get 2 shots the entire match. Both of y'all will only get 2 shots each. And FIFA 17 is a great title if both people are playing open and trying to have fun with it. And there's a lot of pressure and back and forth and the tiki-taka. But when people slow down the game and just park and look for some counters, look for any bit of space, and every pass is so super safe and there's no skilling involved, it's not the same experience. And I want to know what you guys think in the comments. As always, if you like the tutorial, you like the content, maybe you agree with the FUT Champions thing, drop a thumbs up. But we're going to talk a lot about the ground cross, which is almost a variation of an early cross. But without further ado, let's talk about the triple tap. And if you have not utilized this intangible on any FIFA installment, you're going to be triple tapping the cross command. If you're on the PlayStation, you're triple tapping square. If you're on the Xbox, you're triple tapping X. And that's only if you're using classic controls. If you've got some sort of custom or an alternate control setup, it might be different for you. Cross button. You're going to be using the cross button. And in the first freeze frame, I want to talk about angles, but let's look at the runner for a second. And people that struggle with crossing, one of the first mistakes you're making often is you're not triggering your attacking runs. You've got to tell big players to get in the box. Sometimes Ibrahimovic, he just looks like he's lost on the pitch. You got to let him know, hey man, go, LB, L1, please go into the box. I'm looking for you. I want to whip in a cross. And then the second point that you can see in this freeze frame is angles. You don't approach using the low cross without having a little bit of an angle to you. You want to hit an in-swinger. So you don't want to run perpendicular. You don't want to do that ideally. If you're going to run straight at somebody, you might as well use the driven pass, which is another good option for finishing a lot of, I guess, the low cross, or just making sure that you're getting the ball in an attacking position where it's on the ground and it's still got some pace behind it, still got some oomph, which is important. And in the next freeze frame, opening your body. You don't have to aim the driven cross or the low cross heavily. You've just got to make sure that you're facing the correct way. And that's what I was trying to talk about, where you can't just be side to side. You've got to have a little bit of an angle. See that little bit of angle? You can look at my player. Analyze him. He has just started to tilt just a tad bit inside, and that's crucial for crossing in general. If you're doing a low cross, an early cross, maybe not some of the normal crosses. Some of the basic crosses, you can whip it in with spin, even if you're running like this, where you're running straight. But if you're doing anything with an early cross, a low cross, even a lot of driven passes, you need to have the correct angle because you want it to have some shape. You need to have that ball drifting. It needs to be moving. You don't want it to be flat. And if you have any questions about using the low cross, let me know. Because in my opinion, it's a variation of the early cross. Most circumstances, it's an early cross. That's what you're looking for. Of course, you can use it to pull it back. Sometimes the pullback, though, could be better just with the driven pass, depending on the angles. And in the last freeze frame, higher percentage play. So I'm showing you, I've got 2 options in the box, and I know both of them are able to lock on to a driven, or not a driven, for a low cross. I'm getting those all back and forth. I know both players can lock on for a low cross. So if the first guy doesn't get it, I know the second guy's going to get it. So I'm playing the percentages, and when you're in FUT Champs, as I mentioned beforehand, you're not going to get many chances, and that's why you've got to put these low crosses in the box to make it happen, Captain, because you will convert these on a very high level of success rate, especially versus aerial crosses. Don't get me wrong, does not mean don't use aerial crosses, but how many times have you whipped in a cross in the air, you win the header, wide open, you hit it over the goal, it hits the post, it goes wide. Doesn't mean you won't score those, but that doesn't happen very often with anything on the ground. If you've got it on the pitch, it's at your feet, good things are going to happen. But if you enjoyed the content, make sure to drop a thumbs up, subscribe if you're brand new. Let me know what you think about FUT Champs, and I have a lot more coming your way ASAP.